well-targeted questions. Now you know how to elicit information. What are you going to do with all this information? Right, you're going to package it, but not just yet. We have another question for you to ask. Okay? And the question is really quite simple. In any one of these contexts, add this question to your list of questions. But it's the same question, except for the context. It's the same question for each context. Simple, very simple question. What do you want? Or what's important to you about? X is the content, or the context. So if it has to do with, for example, you might want to ask, okay, or someone says, well, gee, the timing of when we're going to move into our home is important to us. All right? And of course you want to ask the question, well, what's important to you about that? What's important to you about, the time you're moving into your new home? Now you want to ask that question. And listen very carefully. When you ask the question, what do you want, or what's important to you, and you ask either one of those two questions about X, you're going to get some very interesting information. Okay? First set of information you may get, so I want you to pay attention so that you'll know later on how to build propulsion systems in the event you have to build one. The question is, what do you want? Or what's important to you? All right, what do you want? X. What's important to you about X? Pay attention. Invariably, you may very well get the first form of the response. I don't want yada, yada, yada. That's an away from response. Well, I don't want to put up with this, what I've been putting up with for the other place. Okay? That's neither here nor there. It's not important, less important, more important, but it is what came out. And it will become important. And it's what they sorted for first, or it's at least what they presented first. You understand that? Okay. The second one is, they're going to tell you what they do want, or need, or would like to have. Which moves me on to the next category of information that I want you to start paying attention to. It's called modal operators. Which is why I was telling you earlier, I'm not convinced that the hierarchy of this is as important, even though you get the criteria. It's not as important as the modal operators that are connected to them. Because the modal operators that are connected to them are the things that put all the juice behind it, if that's where the push is. Okay? Modal operators, for those of you who are not that involved in NLP land, consider yourselves lucky. Think of these as motivators. Because that's what these do. These energize things. And in the course of asking someone, I don't know why this works this way, but when you say to someone, what do you need? Everything is a need. So you do not ask that question. You do not want to say to someone, what are your needs? Or what do you need? They will funnel everything into needs. But when you ask what they want, they'll sort it. Okay, if you say, what do you want? What do you want in a new car? Or what do you want in your new home? They'll go, well, I need this, I want that, I'd like to have that. They'll sort it. Don't know why. Well, let's take a look at some of these modal operators and let's play an experiment. You guys want to play with an experiment? So you all have this little voice inside your head, right? So to speak. Okay? How many of you are going to work Monday? Or doing something Monday to generate some sort of income so you can pay the phone bills? Or some Monday is coming up that you're going to do this, right? Everyone? I know you're going to work on a Monday because you're a chiropractor and you guys aren't allowed to take off till Thursday. But everybody's doing this on a Monday. So when I say Monday, you all know what that means, right? Okay. So with your little voice inside your head, I want you to say the following thing. So we can play with some of these, understand how they work. I want you to say this to yourself. Say, I wish I could take off Monday. And when you say that inside, I want you to just notice the kinesthetic or the feeling that goes with it. Is it strong enough to take off? For how many of you is it strong enough to take off? Let me see your hand. No one? Wow. Come to New Jersey, man. People go, I wish I could take off on anything. I go, so? And they all raise their hand. They're gone. Wow. Now, with a little voice inside your head, say this to yourself. Say, I would like to take off Monday. And all I want you to notice is the feeling different? For how many of you notice it is different? Okay? Stronger? Who says stronger than the first one? Okay? Strong enough to take off? Maybe. She's going, okay, maybe. All right. Okay. Say, I want to take off Monday. Stronger? Who says stronger? Okay? Strong enough to take off. Okay? Now we're getting somewhere. Maybe? Probably? Okay. I need to take off Monday. Stronger? Weaker? Who says weaker? It's okay. Okay. Strong enough to take off. Okay. How many takers do we have so far for taking off on either word? Any word? Okay, we're getting there. I have to take off Monday. Takers? Stronger? Who says weaker? Okay. Oh, some people need internal permission. Say, I can take off Monday. Takers? Okay. Mm-hmm. I must take off Monday. Stronger? Takers? Okay. How many takers do we have so far in any word? Just so I can take the tally here. Okay. Well, it's going to be an empty place Monday. Let's see. I will take off Monday. Mm-hmm. Takers so far? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now you guys remember the submodalities? Richard went over the submodalities a little bit this morning. Location, big, size, brightness of the images and everything. Remember that? Okay. Let's try this one on. Say, I'm going to take off Monday. Hands? Takers? Okay. How many takers do we have so far? Wow. Okay. So if you say this to yourself, you say, I'm going to take off Monday. Who are the takers? Okay. I'm just going to do a quick survey here. All right? Move your slide. Move your slide. Fast or slow? Fast or slow? Move.
Movie. Movie fast.
Slide? What else? Movie slow? Movie slow? Fast? Who's got the slides? Okay, who's got the movies? Okay, fast movies. Slow movies. Okay? Now there's something that we know, by the way, and that is that people don't really take action and do things until they can see the movie run all the way to the end, process the pros and the cons, consequences, the benefits, everything else, make a decision, and then see what's going to happen after that. So we know that. So how do we do this? Are you going to go up to a customer and say, now, what do you think about doing business with us? Is it a movie or a slide? And is that in color or black and white? Are you associated or dissociated? I don't think so. But you can do all of these things. Remember, submodalities are just the way we encode the information. It's the way we process, it's the way we use it. It's all connected to language. So how are we going to take the images you have in your mind right now and change them so that they become even more real? Because right now in your mind you're thinking, I'm going to take off Monday. However, What if we were to take this word and we changed it, took that out, and we made this into something else? Same verb. Instead said, I'm taking off Monday. What happens? More power. In which way? Submodalities. What happens? Faster. Turn into a movie. It was a slide. Who had the slides? Now, for those of you who had a slide, how many for you using out a movie? Okay. Who had the movies? What changed? Faster movie. Faster? Okay. I'm sorry? You became associated, okay? Bigger picture.
Slower and associated.
Okay, slower and associated. Okay. How many now can see other things after taking off? Now you see what you're going to be doing instead. You didn't see that before, though, did you? No. You did? It's more real. That's right. It's called realize. Realize. Now, since we have this, and we did this with language, so this is all to give you a clue that the possibilities are endless. So now we have this, taking off. That's changed some things. Just to give you an example, or an idea that you can change things. Let's add another word here, though. Let's try this one. You ready? Okay, say to yourself, say, oh, how many takers do we have so far? You guys are like gone. That's it. Monday comes, you're doing something else. Okay, cool. Now say this to yourself. You ready? Say, I should take off Monday. Well, that's a modal operator. You're a taker? You do your shoulds? Wow, you and my wife. You're the second person I've ever met that you do what you should do. You do?
If it's for me.
Oh, you're going to start that one now if it's for you. Now, let me explain this to the rest of the class here. Because, see, I thought I could motivate Kathleen because she would say out loud, oh, I should do this, and she would do it. So I thought, ooh, if I tell her she should do something, she'll do it. Wrong. Because this has to do with your own internally imposed words as opposed to your externally imposed words. Right? So there we are, we're driving home one day, going up Route 80. After getting lost, because I'm not allowed to ask for directions. It's a guy thing. And I simply said to her, and I used that royal we thing, just to be careful, I said, when we get home, we should call my sister. And I looked over at her, and there it was, the face. I looked over. I can calibrate. I looked. I quickly calculated, something is wrong. So I said to her, what's wrong? Nothing. Which means a lot. I said, come on, what's wrong? Nothing. She said, come on, what's up, what's the matter? What did I say? You told me that when I get home, I have to call your sister. Did you ever want a tape recorder in your damn pocket? Huh? I said, did not, did too, did not, did too, did not, I did not, you did too, I did not, did too. By the way, we are what is called professional communicators. We teach other people how to communicate. I said, okay, tell you what, honey, let's try this all over again, okay? Okay. And I said, when we get home, we should call my sister. And she looked at me and said, you just said it again. And I looked at her and I said, you have issues. And she said, no, you're the one with the issues. And what we discovered, of course, is that depending on when it's externally imposed, it goes through these sets of filters, and that means the following thing. It gets translated inside of your brain. Mm-hmm. However, for most people, when it's externally imposed, it's different. Okay? Most people I know do not do their shoulds, but they do their should nots. Simple decision strategy. Very simple. You walk up to the refrigerator. You open the door. There it is. A very clear set of choices. Celery or cheesecake. This requires a decision. You look at the celery and you say, I should have a celery. And then your eyes scan. I shouldn't have a cheesecake. And I don't know what happens from there. Messages get sent down to the muscles and everything else. The hand goes out involuntarily, grabs a hunk of cheesecake, goes for the fork. You eat the cheesecake. It feels so good. Yum, yum, yum. And after you've eaten the cheesecake and you're feeling good, you say, I shouldn't have had the cheesecake. And the good feeling gets attached to the word shouldn't. Isn't that true? So be sure you tell other people what they should do, because they probably won't. So I'm your boss. Let's go with externally imposed, all right? I'm your boss. I'm a good boss, by the way. I don't believe in an 8-hour day. When your job's done, your job's done. If you can finish your job in 3 hours, see you tomorrow. Okay? What's the big deal? What, you gotta hang around and look busy and screw things up? That's what happens, you know. Okay? If we just let them go home when they're finished, things would run better. You guys know that France is the only country where when the employees, which is most of the time, are on strike, the CAC goes up. Did you know that? I found this out when I was in Europe. I'm watching the markets. The thing was I forget what it was, the soccer bowl or whatever the hell it is over there. And the airline pilots go, well, fix them. We're going to go on strike. And the farmers go, we're going to go on strike too. And then the milk guys go, we're going to go on strike. Everybody was on strike. The Eiffel Tower was on strike. Not that there's anything there. More than half of France is on strike. And the CAC, which is their stock market, goes up. I'm going, what's up with that? So I asked somebody in Denmark. I said, hey, half of France is on strike, and the CAC went up. What's up with that? He said, of course it went up, John. Why wouldn't it? All the investors know that when there's nobody there to screw things up, the businesses are going to run better. He was serious about this. So I'm your boss. And I say something to you like, here's a report you give me. And I say to you, I wish I could get my reports on Monday. What are you laughing at? When will I get it? Jeez, Wednesday. Man, oh man. Okay, now I say to you, I'd like to have my reports on Mondays. When will I get them? You get them Mondays? Oh, that's good. Yeah, you're on the list. And the rest of you?
We won't be there Monday.
Monday late. You won't be there Monday. I want my reports on Mondays. When will I get them? I would, huh? Wow, you guys are easy. Friday. I have to have my reports on Mondays. Weekends it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I need my reports on Mondays. What? What do you mean? Hey, pal, you're the one with the need. It's your problem? Is that what you're saying? Get your own reports? Nice. Can I have my reports on Mondays? I will have my reports on Mondays. You must give me my reports on Mondays. Yeah? Wow, you guys are easy. Guy from Sweden over here is going, try it. I should have my reports on Mondays. Well, I'll tell you something else. So how many of you have kids? Little ones. Well, this will work if you start with them young, and it'll work up to a certain point. It still works with my son most of the time, you know, and he knows all about this stuff. However, when you're speaking with the children, take out the modal operators if you things you want them to do. Because if you say to a little child, because it's just another set of filters that all the information has to go through, that they have to sort through. You just did it. I want you to do your homework. Well, that's nice. You should do your homework, right? And you should eat the celery. You need to do your homework. No, I don't. You need for me to do it. But it has a lot to do with the modal operators. Test them out yourself. Okay? Fill this out. Fill this paper out. Do this, do this, do this, do that, do this, do this. Not I want you to do this, you should do this, can you do this, you need to do this. Take them out. Take the filters. Just another set of filters, but they're very powerful filters. Okay? So when your customers, by the way, and you ask them what they want, pretty much the ones that you're going to notice that'll come out most of the time, not all of the time, but most of the time, are want, like, and need. These are the three you'll see. Okay? Needs, wants, and like to haves. Let's go back to that example with the new home builder. There's that hot shot kid. So what do you want in your new home? We need 3 bedrooms. We want 2 full baths, 1 up, 1 down. We also want a large family room and a large living room. Oh, and we also would like to have the fireplace in the outside patio deck. So in addition to the criteria that you get, or the hot buttons, you also get the modal operators. But there's somewhere where everything connects. And I'll show you how to figure that out. But there's something else that's interesting, okay? The needs, for the most part, the needs are not negotiable. If they say I need 3 bedrooms, they're not taking 2. They'll take 4, but they're not going to take 2. That's why you don't want to ask for needs. You do not want to force everything to funnel through needs. Otherwise, you're stuck. When you do this and you get the wants, needs, like to haves, and I don't know why this works this way, but it's worked. This has got to be over 90% somewhere, you know, based on all the scientific research that I've never really done. Just keeping track. So someone comes in and says they need this, they want this, they like to have this. Okay, the needs are pretty much non-negotiable. Although they can be negotiated. You know, you might want to have to probe a little bit or find out a little bit more why, or 3 bedrooms. If I had a single person coming in and looking to buy a home and they said I need 3 bedrooms, I'd want to know why 3 bedrooms are important to them if they're a single person. And if they said they were looking at it for resale value later, I'd want to know this, right? Because that's important. They're looking at it as an investment. They need 3 bedrooms because they know 3 bedrooms later on, blah, 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 blah. But that does not really mean they need 3 bedrooms, right? This is an interesting one, though. So these are not negotiable for the most part, although they can be, you know, oftentimes. For every want you cannot give them, if you can give them 2 of their like to haves, it makes it okay that you can't give them the one want. It's like they'll trade 2 of these for 1 of these. How's that for a strategy? So they come in and go, we need 3 bedrooms. We want 2 full bathrooms. We also want a large family room, large living room, and we'd like to have a fireplace and an outside patio deck. And he goes, I got the 3 bedrooms. I do not have 2 full baths. I got a bath and a half. However, I do have the fireplace and the outside patio deck as well, and the large family room and a large living room. And you go, oh, you have the fireplace and the patio deck? Cool. Bath and a half? We can deal with that. For those, how many of you are in real estate? I know there's quite a few of you are in the real estate business thing, right? You may or may not have noticed how modal operators will shift within couples. So he shows up, he says, I need a 2-car garage with a workshop area, and we also need so many bedrooms and blah, 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 blah. And yeah. I think my wife said she'd like to have a laundry room or something. I don't know, something like that. Then the wife shows up. And the real estate person says, okay, so I've spoken with your husband, and he needs a 2-car garage. You don't need a 2-car garage. Okay? I know we got 2 cars. We always park one outside. He wants one so he can pile all his shit up in over there. His fishing crap and all that stuff that he never really uses, right? He only needs a 1-car garage, okay? But let him tell you he does not need 2-car garage. He needs 1-car garage. Me, I need a room for my hobbies and for all this other stuff, okay? And she said, and the real estate person says, well, he says you'd like to have like a laundry room. We have a laundry room. She goes, I wouldn't care about a laundry room. Okay? I need a nice size sitting room. Okay? I know he said he wants a big den. He doesn't need a den. He's never home. He travels all the time. We're going to use the den for my sitting room. Because I need a sitting room. And these are all, they just keep changing the modal operator. Okay? Yes?
If you're listening, you're getting information.
Yeah.
Criteria that you know you have, your competition doesn't have, that you tell them so you this and this.
Mhm.
Just try to make it a need so it's more persuasive towards you. That-
No, I wouldn't do it that way. You're dealing with their information first primarily. I'm not worried about the competition so much. You have spatial anchoring for that. I've never really worried about the competition. I mean, within certain limits, of course. I mean, if you have 5 different companies selling the identical product at the identical price and everything else, it's just going to boil down to who they like the best. All right. So in that case, there are other things that are going to matter. When you have prices where you have the same model of something and you're going to slash prices, the other guy didn't slash prices. I mean, given the fact that it's the same item, if the price difference is that ridiculous, the delta is so much greater, then of course that's going to make a difference. Other than that, especially in the service industries or businesses where service is a great part of it, all I have to do is worry about being the best. That's the only concern I would have. Just deliver the best you can. As long as you're the best there is, the marketplace will always take care of itself. So I don't worry so much about switching their modal operators on them. They might pick up on that. Unconsciously they'll pick up on it. You say, so you need this. No, I don't really need that, but it'd be nice to have that. They'll correct you. And as long as they're correcting you, you've kind of haven't lost any real serious ground, but you've kind of took a step back, and moving forward, right? Because they'll start picking up on this, that you're changing things, and if you notice their body response, which you really want to watch for, especially upper body, torso up, is that if they move in towards you, you're doing really, really well for the most part. If they take one step back and then do something, then that's an away from response. You can count on that.
You're creating rapport by your asking the question. So when you this is my need or whatever it is, you're not anchoring that.
You can.
Are you?
You can. You can, because I say, okay, so the guy comes in and that question is new home. So the question is, so what do you want in your new home? And the person says, we need 3 bedrooms. We want 2 full baths, 1 up, 1 down. We want a full living room, a large living room, large family room. We want a fireplace and outside patio deck, right? You're anchoring at the moment that you start to repeat that back. And that you run those analogs back. So let me see if I got this right. So you need 3 bedrooms, you want 2 full baths, 1 up, 1 down.
So you're listening to them and probably nobody else.
Yeah, and they're saying, wow, you understand me. I love you. I love you. I will buy my homes from you for the rest of my life. I'm going to move to Florida. Please relocate down there so I can buy my home from you. Then you can move back to Ohio. Yep. You with me so far? Okay. So when you ask the question, what do you want or what's important to you, they're going to say, I need this, I want this, I like to have that. For the most part, that's what you're going to hear. And you're going to get their criteria. Okay? In your books, you should have something that looks like this. So you have this page? Okay. Up in this corner, I want you to answer this question. And you might have a word or a phrase or a couple of words or phrases. And I'll ask you the question. I'll ask you 2 different questions. It's really going to go to the same place. Okay? This has to do with gas stations. I want to know what's important to you or what do you want in the gas stations that you go to. Petrol stations, for those of you who use that word in Europe. What's important to you or what do you want in the gas stations that you go to? And write your answers in that box. Okay? In this corner, it's what do you want or what's important to you about the hotels you stay in. Yeah, those are hotels. They don't look like hotels. And in this corner here, what do you want or what's important to you about the clothing stores that you go to or where you buy your clothes? And over here, same thing. What do you want or what's important to you about the restaurants that you go to? Now, just so you're aware, I chose these categories because they're quite general and have to do with anyone's life. I mean, everyone, pretty much has to deal with a gas station unless they don't drive, but hotels, clothing, restaurants, it's pretty general for everyone. That's why I've chosen this. However, this would be, the example would be the wheel, or the different areas or context or concerns of your business. So this would be different contexts, right? So you would ask the question, what do you want or what's important to you about the timing of moving into your home, right? Or the financing, or the community, right? So what's important about the community in which you'll be living in? You understand this? Okay, great. So let me ask you this question, because here's where the real funny stuff comes in. If you have the same answer, the same response in all 4 boxes, in the middle box, if you have the same answer in all 4 boxes, put those in here, like in that part of the box. Just segregate the box like that. That's if you have the same answer or the same, phrase or words in all 4 boxes. If you have 3 answers, just 3, only 3, in any, same answer rather, in any, just 3 boxes, and put those in here. And then you can do the same thing here if you have the same answer in just 2 boxes. This is how you do marketing surveys, by the way. Not because somebody went to marketing school and knows what consumers really want, because they don't. They think because they went to marketing school, they got a degree in marketing, that they know what the consumer wants. That's not true. How many of you deal in marketing? Research? Marketing? They don't do, you're in Europe though, right? You're in Europe? Where are you at? Here? Oh, you're in Chicago. Oh, so they must do it here too. They waste money on marketing, consumer studies. They will go, here's what companies do. What does it cost for a consumer test now? About 10, 12, 15,000 for one consumer test? Yeah. Well, what's the average though, would you say? Like, yeah, about 10 to 15,000. So they'll spend 10 to 15,000 per consumer test for a product to find out, what the consumer likes or doesn't like about the product, so they can keep fine-tuning the product, right? And then they end up spending like a few $100,000 before it's all over on a product. And they finally get it down. So they go, here's the bread we're gonna make, and here's what the consumer says. And then they sit around in a marketing meeting and some bozo in marketing says, I think it needs more blueberries. And I went to college, so that's why I know that. All right? And then they put more blueberries in it and it doesn't sell. And they try to blame the tests. Yeah, crazy. Okay, how many have the same answer in all 4 boxes? Just hold your hands up for a moment. What is it? Good service.
Price, convenience, speed.
Price, convenience, and speed. Friendly style.
Price and location.
Price and location. Price. Cost. Clean.
Price location.
Clean gas station. Okay. I got. I'm just checking. Sorry. No offense, man. Okay.
Price and location.
Price and location. Cost and location.
Quality, cost, location,
Quality, cost, location, service. Convenience. Value and location. Service. Price. Large selection. Gas. Gasoline. All 4 boxes? Oh no. Well, at least you admitted it. Thank you very much, sir. 4 boxes. Quality and price. I can't hear you. Atmosphere. Gas station? Yeah, I got it. I'm just checking. I'm not making fun of it. I'm not even laughing at it. They're laughing. I'm not. I'm just checking it. Just because I raised my eyebrows and went like that. Okay. I got it. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to the gas station. I don't like the atmosphere. That's all there is to it. So what if I'm running out of gas? Who cares? Even though the price is right. Okay. Next. Yes. I can't hear you. Manners. And you came here anyway, huh? Well, we're not a gas station or a restaurant or a hotel or a clothing store, so there. We don't have to have manners. Now, how many of you have the same answer in 3 boxes? Just 3 boxes. Okay, what is it?
Quality.
I guess it's not gas stations. Service. Price. Price quality. Service quality. Quick and easy. Quality. Service. Price. Location. Cleanliness. Are we getting a pattern here? Okay. 2 boxes. Location. Convenience. Safety. Safety? That must be in the restaurants. Selection. Pretty? Not gas stations like that. Okay. Atmosphere. Selection. Service, clean, quality, price. Method of payment. Service. Variety. And comfort. Fair price. Cleanliness. Easy in and out. Hotels, right? No. Sorry. Food. On the gas station, I guess. Okay. We're getting a pattern here, yes? Pretty much. Quality and smell. I won't go there. Okay. So we have a little bit of a pattern here, right? Okay. And these are general in nature, and they are kind of general categories, and your answers pretty much are what they are whenever I do this. But I want you to notice, number 1, there's a pattern. I want you to notice, number 2, the following thing. How many of you have no answers that share any boxes? They're all different. Yes? Hold your hand up. Let me see. Okay. Yes? Hold your hand so I can see who you are. Okay. So let me ask you a question. These are sort of rhetorical, so you don't really have to answer them, but it'd be nice if you could. Do you think you're easy to get along with? No. No? Okay. Do you have a lot of friends? Let me qualify friends. Let me qualify friends. Not people that you know, associates. First of all, there are friends, actually real friends. Let me qualify that. Friends will help you move. Okay? Real friends would help you move bodies. Okay? Just so we know what real friends means, okay? All right. So, when you think about real friends, how many, I'm going to take a guess, right? Okay, for those of you who have no answers that share the boxes, okay, just close your eyes for a moment so I can show the class something, okay? Okay, you can open your eyes. Okay, real friends, how many would you say you have? Really, I'm talking real friends. We're talking associates or friends that you have that you associate. We're talking real friends. How many would you say you have? Werner? 2. 1. Wow.
I don't understand that.
Uh-oh. Who else? Who else had no answers? Sharon. Anyone else? Oh, yeah. 3. Okay. Typically, it's less than 4. Okay? 3 tops, really. For the most part. Most people would say, really? 3. I know a lot of people I get along with, a lot of people I have a lot of friends, you know. But really? 3. You know. Okay, so are you easy to get along with? If I spoke to your friends, would they say that you're easy to get along with?
I wanted to, but my friend don't know.
Mm-hmm. If are you married? Okay. If I asked which one of you guys is married? Some of you guys are married, right? Who answered the question? If I asked your spouse, what would they say? Easy to get along with? Say, I don't know. She's not talking to me right now. They're saying. Oh, she's stubborn, or she would say you're stubborn. You're stubborn? Okay. Are you easy to sell to? You easy to sell to? No. You easy to sell to, Rance?
No.
No. Werner, easy to sell to? Are you easy to sell to? No. To be sold. Is it easy for people to sell something to you?
Yes.
It is? Hey, bullshit. Okay. Easy to sell to? You think so? You're a lay down customer? Let me ask you a question though. Okay? Is that because, I'm agreeing with you by the way. If you think you're easy to sell to, is that because you already figure out what you want when you go in? What if they try to talk you out of it and try to sell you something else? Pissed off? Would you walk out? Yeah. Cool, huh? Now, when you have a customer who has criteria that is all different in all these different contexts and areas, once you start fishing around, okay, you are going to work very hard at getting their business. I'm not saying you can't get it. I'm saying you're going to work hard. When you get their business, they will be a loyal customer for a very long time. You're a loyal customer? Bet. You're a loyal customer? You bet. Yeah. Once you get past all of their gateways, all of their gates, all of their criteria, and you've passed muster and all the tests and everything, they will remain loyal. I mean, you got to screw up pretty bad in order for them to go, that's it, I'm done. Yeah? Yeah. Because...
I'm not.
No? You're not a loyal customer?
Outside the box.
Sure you are.
You know how hard I could get in here, right? I call you.
Yeah. Well, you didn't call me, you called my wife. But you're a loyal customer. You've been here before. Not here, but you've been to the seminars.
And I will be again.
That's right. No, you won't. You make you work harder next time. Yes, I will. Because once you get past all these gateways and you get through all this criteria, it doesn't mean that they're difficult. It just means that they're sorting for a lot of different things to make sure. That's what it means. And once you get past all of that, then they'll remain loyal because they found someone who can fulfill all of their criteria is what it means. Does that make sense to you? So, when they have different criteria, it's all over the place, you're going to have to work harder. That's all you have to know. It's not that difficult. Because now knowing this, and knowing that they're going to have different criteria, and if you keep matching back all the criteria, be sure you can fulfill all the different criteria. Because I'm not asking you to lie. If you can't fulfill someone's criteria, if they want 3 bedrooms and they need 3 bedrooms, you can't give them 3 bedrooms, then you got to tell them that. We make a basic assumption here that what you're selling, you believe in it. You're not out to screw anybody. I hope you realize that. We take that as a basic assumption. Okay, so if you have somebody who would in your wheel would have different criteria and answers in all of the different parts of the wheel, for example, you're going to have to work a little harder. That's all you have to know right now. Okay, now let's get to something else. You understand that part? Okay, let's pause here for a moment. Actually, yes. I'm sorry.
How do you find that out as a customer?
Well, it's not with these questions here. Okay, let's go back to the wheel. Her question is, how do you find that out about the customer? So let's go back to the wheel. So you're going to go back and you're going to figure out your wheel and you're going to come up with your well-targeted questions for your wheel. Right? For the different parts of your wheel, basically. Where's the wheel? Other page back? There it is. Okay? New homes, or homes, period, right? Okay. So there are a couple of things that are important about buying a home. Okay? And you might want to relate it this way to a customer, a potential customer. Okay? A couple of things are going to be important. We're going to have to talk about the type of the style of the home you want, the size of the lot. You're interested in, the timing of when you want to move in, the community in which you're living in, transportation around the area, schools and everything else, who built the home, who's the builder, the history of the builder and everything else like that. But so let me ask you a question. Let me start off with something else first. Okay, so, do you know what type of home do you want? And what's important to you about it? And if you don't, because they might say, listen, we want a ranch, that's all we want is a ranch, da-da-da, we're not interested in anything else, bi-levels, yada, yada, yada. You say, what's important to you about the home you're going to be living in? Or what do you want in the home you'll be living in? Or what do you want in your new home? That's the context. So it's what do you want in X, or what's important to you in X, or about X. And X is any context you want. Now, by the way, in the course of discussion with any customer, you'll know when they mark something out that it's important to them, because they will emphasize it. They will mark it out. They go, well, we go to Hong Kong. We really like to go to Hong Kong. You know why we like to go to Hong Kong? We love going to Hong Kong and doing things because it is so easy to do business there. And you go, so it's easy to do, so you really like doing business there because it's easy to do business there? And they'll say, yes. Okay? Now you know why, by the way. Because they said we like going there because it's important, or because it's easy to do business there. Now you know why they like doing it. Okay? Another example would be, okay, in that case you already know what the answer is. You may not know what the answer is when they say, well, we really like that house, we really like that other home, that one home you showed us, oh, that, that bi-level, oh. Because the bi-level, you really like the bi-level. They go, yeah. You go, what's important to you about the bi-level? You can always ask the question, what's important to you about anything at any time in a conversation, especially when they make it important. And they mark it out as if it's important, and they emphasize that it's important. They don't say it's important. They go, oh, I love this bedroom. You go, you love this bedroom? They go, yes. They might just state the information. Or if they don't, then you say, what do you like about this bedroom? Or why is this bedroom important to you? Or what's important to you about this bedroom? Or what's important to you about the color of the walls? Because they said, oh, I love this color. You go, really? They go, oh, yes. What's important to you about the color of the walls? You can always ask about anything. You can also ask the why question at any time. Okay, as soon as you realize something's important to you. I'll tell you how that works. When you ask the why question, because it's not so bad to ask the question why. People go, we don't ask the question why in NLP. Those are the people who don't know what they're doing. Okay? When you ask the question why, you're eliciting their motivation. The reason why we first tell people, we don't tell them not to ask why, we tell them that why is not as important or as relevant as how. It's easier to change something if you know how than it is why. That's all. Why goes to motivation, and many people do not know why. At least consciously, they may not have a reason. They may not know what their motivation is. So they say, I don't know. Why is it important to you? They might say, I don't know. Or they might say, well, because. Or they go, I don't know, it just is. Okay? Which means consciously they don't know. It does not mean it's not important to them, or that doesn't mean they don't even know why. It means consciously at that moment they don't know why. When you ask the why question, you will get to what I call a dominant buying motive. And what that means is the following. Okay? So the question is, so you already said the type of home, the size of the lot is important to you, where the schools are, the community is important to you, and everything else, the timing is important to you, this is important to you, and I have all this other information about you. So now I start to ask you a question. And before I ask the question why, by the way, I always preempt it. I put something before it. I say, let me ask you something. I go, let me ask you a question before I ask why. Okay? Because a lot of people will, they'll polarize or react to the question why. A lot of people don't like being asked why. And not because it has a lot to do with voice tone, intonation, or being asked why so many times they don't know the answer to it, that frustrates them. Whatever the case is, if they don't like being asked the question why, I make a basic assumption that they don't, then I just ask a question, not first. I say, let me ask you a question. Okay? Or I say to them, you mentioned to me that the size of the home is, or the type of home is important to you. You mentioned to me that the size of the lot is important to you. So let me ask you a question. Why is the size of the lot going to be important to you? And I wait. And they say, well, because we have kids. We were figuring out, with a nice sized lot, it's not that I like cutting a lot of grass, but with a nice sized lot, I put up a nice swing set and a gym set and everything else, and the kids will have a nice place to play. Oh, cool. You also mentioned that the timing is important to you when you can move in. You mentioned that you want to be able to move in sometime in July, August. Why is that important to you? Oh, well, because we have the kids, and the kids will be out of school, and that'll be a good time to move in. Okay, you also mentioned that the type of financing you want to have, you want a 30-year fixed mortgage, which is really cool. But, let me ask you a question about that. Why is it important to you that you have a 30-year fixed? They say, well, because usually, even though the rates are, a little bit different, we can plan on things, and we have the kids, and they're going to go to school soon enough, and we want to be able to put some money away so the kids can go to school. What's the dominant buying motive? Kids. Who are we going to sell the house through? The kids. Now, in the same respect, with a business, for example, you might hear, for example, the dominant buying motive is going to be, you'll hear different words or phrases, maybe the bottom line. Okay, so you mentioned that and being able to do this and that, and it is important to you. Let me ask you a question. Why is that important to you? Well, because we're really concerned with how it's going to affect the bottom line. So the bottom line is really important to us. We got the investors, we got the stockholders, yada, yada. So we're really concerned with how it's going to affect the bottom line. And you also mentioned that, when we come in and do the project, that you want to be able to be sure to complete it by the end of the year. You mention that that's something that's important to you. Why is completing it by the end of the year important to you? And you go, because he's going to affect the bottom line by the end of the year. We're going to have to report how it affected the bottom line. What's the dominant buying motive? The bottom line. And those are the words they're going to use. So what words are you going to use? The bottom line. In the other case with the new home, dominant buying motive is the kids or the children, however they express it. So I would sell it through the children, right, or through the kids. Oh, the kids are going to love this place, you know? So when you tie all of this together, right, and you have all of this criteria tied together with the modal operators, and then you have the dominant buying motive, right, what I like to do is when I give them back the proposal, or actually the presentation, okay, I give it to them back in the order of the modal operators and how they linked up. So even though they may have criteria all over the place, right, most of the time I say, so basically what you're saying is that you need this and this and this and this. And they go, yep. And I go, and you also want this and this and this and that. And they go, uh-huh, yep. And then I go, and then you like to have these, and these other things, right? And they go, yep, you got it. And I go, great, right? And I tie it all together with that dominant buying motive, and then that's when you hear the big window of opportunity opening up. And it goes, you pull everything together, and you go, fire it right through the window of opportunity. Just let them have it all, right? Providing you can, of course. When you link it all together like that, that's the way it works, okay? Now we're going to try an experiment. This is a very simple experiment, okay? This is going to be in groups of 3. You are going to sell something to someone else, and you don't know what it is because they haven't told you yet. So you're going to have 3 people. You're going to have A, B, and C. And of course you will rotate roles. Person A is the customer. And by the way, for those of you in sales, you know the customer is not always right. But you must make them feel as if they are. There is the art form. So A is the customer, B is the salesperson, C, you get to observe and laugh. You get to observe. Customer is going to tell salesperson what they're buying. And I quite frankly don't care what it is. It could be pencils, a vacation, skis, golf clubs, a home, I don't care, a car, it doesn't matter to me. Okay? Make it something that at least they know what it is. If they don't, just explain to them a little bit about what it is. So if you still look at some person, you go, I'm selling golf clubs, and they go, what are golf clubs? Explain it to them. Okay? And now you know what it is. So person A, right, is the customer, person B is the salesperson. Once they know what the person is buying, you are going to elicit as much information as you can, which isn't really going to be a lot. Gather the information up, sort out the wants, needs, like, the haves, repeat everything back to them. I don't care how silly it sounds or how silly you feel. Okay? Anything new feels weird, doesn't it? Fold your arms. Now fold them opposite. Having a little trouble, are we? That hand comes up. Mm-hmm. Fold your arms. I know, I got it. Just fold them. I'll show you how to do it. I know it's weird. I know. I got it. I know. It happens to all geniuses. Fold your arms. Just fold them. Fold them. Okay. Now, hold this one still. Hold this one still. Bring this one up. In. Now bring this one out. There you go. And out. No, fold your arms. Now, bring this one around and in. This one up. No. Right there. Okay? How's it feel? Who knows? Who knows? You. I don't know. If I look at you, all I see is your arms are folded. I don't know that you feel crazy about it or weird. Fold your hands. Now, take all your fingers like this and move everything down one. How's that feel? Does it feel weird? Yeah. Do I know? No. So anytime you're trying out something new and you feel weird, you're the only one that knows. So whatever you do, don't go into your customer. Listen, I feel really weird. I'm going to try some stuff on you that I just learned in this seminar. Okay? And I feel really strange about this, so please forgive me. Okay? You're the only one who knows. Don't need to advertise it. Okay? You're going to gather as much information as you can, sort out the wants, needs, like, the haves, repeat it back to them, make sure they got it, make sure they go, yes, I love you. you understand me, and then sell it to them. Because I want you to know that you can. I want you to prove to yourself that you can sell anything. Now, it does help if you're selling complicated things that you know a little bit about them. But this is just an experiment around this very simple process. And we're not even finished yet. We're only up to this point. Observer person, I want you to observe for the following. 1. Is the salesperson paying attention to the customer? And if they are, how do you know? And if they're not, how do you know? When they repeat everything back, and when I say repeat things back, typically I like to gather enough information so I have 3 to 5 pieces of information, repeat it back, and then move forward. Remember, you're building yes sets and response potential. So you don't wait till you gather everything and then give it back to them. So what do you want in your new home? Well, we really need 3 bedrooms to, right? Cool. Right? So you need 3 bedrooms, you want to know. Yes. Got it. Okay? How about the financing? What's important about the financing? Well, we want a 30-year fix because we really need a good rate. Okay, so you need a 30-year fix and you really want a good rate. Yes. And you go to the next one. Boom. Okay? Observer person. Right? Are they listening or are they not listening? How do you know the difference? Watch the customer. Okay? Observe the customer. When the salesperson is giving the information back to the customer, observe the customer. What are they doing? Are they moving forward? Are they staying still? Or are they moving back? If they move back, when do they move back? Okay? There's only 2 reasons why they would move back. 1 is the salesperson had a lot of garlic for lunch. And they didn't. 2, salesperson did or said something that pushed the customer back a little bit, or caused the customer to pull back or pull away a little bit. Okay? Got it? And sell it to them. Did you all get to sell something? I have a couple of quick questions. I know it was quick, I know it was easy, I don't know what you got to sell, and I know it was contrived. Okay? By the way, all of this stuff works best when the other person is not paying attention to what's going on. You know that part, right? Okay. When you were the customer, well, first of all, when you were the salesperson and you repeated things back, how did it feel? Feel all right? How many of you felt strange? It's okay. When you were the customer and the salesperson repeated these things back to you, how did it feel? Well, that felt better, right? So you didn't like doing it, but you liked having it done. Got it. I've heard this about other things too. So it felt good. So when someone did it back to you as a customer, how was it? He didn't do it?
I never got to see the customer.
How comes? What happened? You were so happy selling something, so busy, and he was so thrilled buying it from you. Make sure you get a chance to meet the customer, seriously, because it'll be a good experience. I want you to know what it's like to be on the receiving end of this. Okay, it's a really good thing. So when you were the customer, how did it feel? Customer, the salesperson repeating these things back. Was it a good one? Did any of you feel like you were being patronized? Anyone? No? Did they feel like they actually understood you? Did you want to marry them? Sort of, Didn't you just look at them and go, I love you, you understand me? That kind of thing? But you had a certain sense of understanding, right? In other words, if you were the customer, it'd be different because now you're the recipient of the information. So it's much different when you're observing. So and I don't know that he would have done that, the same way with you either. You see? Who was the person, the salesperson? How come you did it that way 3 times?
I have no idea.
You just felt like doing it that way?
It just came out that way.
Okay, and he was like, yeah, cool, yeah. So he was just noticing that. Had he gotten annoyed? See, the fact that you had to ask him if he was getting annoyed means you weren't observing whether he was annoyed or not. Yeah, you got annoyed, so you were trying to find out if your experience was going to match what his experience was of the same thing he was doing, which is cool. It's fine. That's how we learn. he noticed that he wasn't getting annoyed, or he didn't notice that he was getting annoyed, because he wasn't, right? So he kept doing what he was doing because he was getting a positive response. It's kind of like the rat going after the cheese, as long as the cheese stays there and you watch the cheese, the rat's going to do the same thing. I don't mean you're a rat, by the way, kind of thing, but I'm saying, but he noticed that. He noticed that he was getting a positive response from him. So why would he change what he was doing? See? And he didn't notice was that you didn't like it. But he wasn't dealing with you, so that's fair. As a salesperson, had he noticed it out of the periphery, had he noticed you were getting annoyed, he'd look at, what's your problem? I'm not selling it to you. Mind your business. Just observe. Or something like that. Questions? How could it do that? I'm sorry? Just that. Well, is that a question that you would ask someone? Oh, then tell them that. Say what's important. Did you tell them privacy was important to you? Okay. And they said, what's important to you about privacy? And you said, and did you say to them? You said, well, what's important to me about privacy is that you don't ask me that question. Yeah, that's cool. He wasn't paying attention, whoever that was. Well, actually, he was. He was doing what he was supposed to be doing. Because he said to you, we said to him, privacy was important to you, right? Now, he could have probed it differently, so to speak, and he could have said to you, instead of saying what's important to you about privacy, or why is privacy important to you, he could have said, what is it about what is it about privacy that is important to you, which is a different question. Is it not? Instead of saying, why is privacy important to you? He could have said, what about privacy is important to you? Is that a different question?
Yes.
Would you have responded differently? Yeah. But he wouldn't have known that until he asked you, why is privacy important to you, and you went, so. Yes.
My customer gave me a list of the should. Where does should fall in?
He gave you a list of shoulds? What did he say? It should have this, it should have this, it should have this? Well, he's just replacing one of the other ones. Who was your customer?
This guy was screwed up.
Where? Who said, oh, you should? Really? Ah, you need to fix that. You know the best way to do it? You should buy all those products back there later. Because everything you should know is on them. I'm sorry, I can't. It's an example of the seminar. Come on. Yes.
Because for those the modalities, like wants, needs, likes.
Yeah. Model operators.
Okay. And how do you get in to rank those?
You don't. No, just listen to them. Needs are going to be important. Wants are next. Likes are third. Real simple. That's why they're already ranked.
But if he hasn't given you that,
Oh, he has not given them to you.
right?
Oh, so when you said, and what's important to you about it, he didn't say, well, I want this, or I like to have that, or I need that?
Yeah, just like, and this would be good, and this would be good, and here's something to consider too.
Ah, okay. So good is a want, as far as I'm concerned. I would translate good as a want. And what was the second thing you said?
Oh, basically.
This would be nice?
You just started listing.
I know, but what did you say after that? You said this would be good, and you just said it. And this would be nice too, that's a like to have, as far as I'm concerned, until I can prove otherwise. And I don't know what the needs are. He said this would be good. If he said this is great, or this is necessary, that's a need. Right? This would be good, would be a want, as far as I'm concerned. And this would also be nice, is a like to have. I mean, on a basic level, I would rank them that way myself, and then find out if that's true. Because you can always find out by giving counterexamples. So you go, so this would be nice to have, so this is not really that important to you? And they might go, well, no, not really. It's like, if I can get that, that'd be really nice, but, it's not necessary. Well, what is necessary? Because then he just used necessary, but you didn't. So then if you said, well, what thing, of all these things that are things that you'd like, good to have, what's necessary? Is there anything that's really required? I would not ask for needs, that's all I mean. If you really want to know, it's not necessary, or it's not important that they're ranked necessarily. It's good if you can get the modal operators, but sometimes they're just not going to give them to you. And if you ever want to test them, if they didn't give you the modal operators and you want to test if the modal operators are there, attach the modal operators to some of the criteria. And the ones that are wrong, you'll know about. And the ones that are right, you'll know about. Because the ones that are right, they'll say yes. You say, so basically you're saying you need this, and they go, no, not really. Right? That means no. It means it's not a need. Right? And if they say yes, absolutely, then it's a need. So that's how you find out if you want to test them. I'm not suggesting you do it, by the way. I'm just saying you can if you want to. I don't think it's always required that you have that particular information. It's not required that you have it in order, right? But if you're repeating it, simply repeating it back to them, all you're really doing is demonstrating understanding right back. You haven't gotten to trial closing. You haven't even gotten that far. We're not there yet. There's another whole day. And we haven't even gotten to handling objections. How do you handle objections? With a sledgehammer. Yes?
So if you have something that has a very long sales cycle, say a year to year and a half, is that where you use your ACT data?
Wow.
to track?
A year to year and a half.
Yeah.
What are you selling? Boeing 727s or 747s or what?
ASICs, application specific integrated circuit.
What is it?
ASICs.
Oh, okay.
Computer chips.
Yeah. Yeah, see, what I was going to mention earlier was what most people don't realize is no matter what the business is that you're in, I mean, there are different parts of getting business. One is called getting new business, that kind of thing, and then the other one is maintaining the business that you have. And what most people don't realize is that they are in the business, really, of relationship maintenance. I mean, when you have a new customer, you have a new customer, of course, but once you've got their business, now it's called, maintaining that relationship. That's why I said, how often you stay in contact with your customers. Do you only call them to find out when you have a need? Or do you just kind of, contact them every now and then? Do you just, do you stop in? I keep track I have a couple of different databases I use. I use ACT as the program, but I have different databases. So like for the corporate stuff, I have where I keep information about them. I don't have information about you, well, one of you I do. And you don't know who you are. But I got it from the FBI, so don't worry about it. But the idea to me is that I have a separate database because in that database I keep their criteria. I keep the things they've told me to report. I'm not going to remember all this from month to month if I'm not going to talk to somebody for another 6 or 8 months or something. I deal with a lot of people. But as soon as I find out the information, I put that in the database. Then I have it in such a way that I can print out a report. If I'm going to go visit them, I print out a little report, but it comes out on a 6x9 index card, and I have all the information I want about them. So I could glance at it on the elevator on the way up to their office and everything. That's why I was mentioning about ACT before, because I think it's important. You keep in contact with certain customers. It's called maintenance. It's called relationship maintenance. That's really the name of the game today. The internet has made the world a much smaller place. That also means that there are a lot of people just sending all kinds of garbage around. And because it's made everything a smaller place, the customers you have, you really, really want to work real hard at keeping. It's gotten to that point. But because of the internet, that's actually worked in everyone else's favor if you know how to maintain the relationships. So. I have a guy who he called me up and I went and met with him and everything and gave him a persuasion engineering book and everything. And he said he was going to give me a call, and I said, right. I said, so I'll call you when, and he gave me a time. So I called him. And he said, yeah, I got to get with these other guys. He said, but I'm supposed to be with them, blah, 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 on Monday. And he said, so I'm not really going to know anything until yada, yada, yada date. And I said, so you're going to call me or am I going to call you? And he said, well, I'll call you. And I said, okay, so what time do you want me to call you on that day if you don't call me? He kind of looked at me like, you wouldn't really do that. He didn't say that to me, but he kind of looked at me and he said, well, if you don't hear from me by 10 o'clock, why don't you call me like by noontime? I said, okay, I will. Put it right in my ACT program. And I was in Vienna, actually outside of Vienna, Austria, and up popped the message to call this guy. And I called him off my international phone, and he answered the phone. I said, you didn't give me a call. I was waiting. I called my wife first, said, get a call from so-and-so. And I called him. I said, listen, I'm calling you from Vienna. I said, you said you were going to give me a call by 10 o'clock, but I hadn't heard from you, so you told me to give you a call at noontime, or sometime around noontime, so I'm giving you a call. Where are we going with this thing? And he said, you call me from Europe? I said, I'll call you from Mars if I have to. You told me to call you, so I'm calling you. And he was like, wow. And that impressed him more than anything else, which is now why we're going to be doing some business. And I could have just said, hey, the guy didn't call me, screw him. But no. I told him I would call him by a certain time if he didn't call me. And I even made him decide and give me the time. And then I made sure I did that. And it was, what time was it over there? It had to be like 5 or 6 o'clock at night over there, which was okay, So, yes?
When you record your criteria
Mhm.
for your clients or your
Mhm.
prospects, do you also record the mobile operators?
Mm-hmm.
And
I just record a few things. I record their criteria. I record their modal operators, and if I happen to have it by that time, I put in their dominant buying motive thing. You know, because listen, if I find out their dominant buying motive is their kids, man, I got news for you. When I call them up, first thing I say is, "How the kids?"
So
You know.
do you have that, is that all like in a free form, or do you have?
No, I made it up. I made up my own fields and everything.
So you have it in a form?
Yeah, it's in my database.
Okay.
So I made up my database for me to put this information in. When I go to a sales call, when I do what I do, I just bring index cards with me. I don't bring books and all this other crazy stuff. You know, everybody hauls in their briefcase with their leftover yogurt and still tuna fish sandwich and stuff in it. I don't bring all that stuff. I just bring a very small folder with me with index cards in it. And any of the information I get, I just jot it down in an index card. And when I get home, I just put it in the old computer. All right, sit back, relax for a moment. And for those of you who aren't going out partying, sit back, relax, close your eyes, just put your hand on your wallet. If you have anything of value, just hand it over to me. I'll be sure to hold on to it for you. Sit back, relax just for a moment. Now, you've done a lot of things just since you've been here, but more importantly than that, you've done a lot of things before you even got here. Because regardless of the fact of whether or not you thought you knew what you're doing, you've probably known all along about asking really good questions, and we're not finished yet. But if you take a look back over time or through time, from the very first moments that you actually arrived here on the planet, you've accomplished a whole lot of things. Now, since we've been teaching you things about language and words, I want you to realize how important it is that the possibilities are endless. Now, if you think back, you've really accomplished some things. You learned to walk. Now, if you don't think that's a feat in itself, so to speak, that requires quite a bit of muscle coordination, muscle building and bone building, balancing, your little toes learning how to do things so that you can stand up on your own 2 feet, pitter-patter across the floor. You learned how to walk. Not only that, but you learned how to talk. And some of you learned how to speak more than one language. But even if you only speak one language, think of the possibilities. Every word that you use, and you use many more words than I can ever come up with, each one of those words comes from and is built from just 26 letters in an alphabet. You know about the 26 letters. That's all there are. And if you take those 26 letters, you can make combinations of those letters into words. And if you put those words in a sequence, that sequence is now called a sentence. And that sentence would make sense in some way. Then you add sentence upon sentence upon sentence. So now you have paragraphs. And a paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraphs turns into stories. Now you've been able to do this without even realizing it. If you've done things like this that you haven't even realized, and you take for granted each and every day the words that you use and how often you use them, how many times you communicate with people, now is the time to make it really precise. Because precision is the key. See, when you learn to ask really well-targeted questions, you can get more valuable information. But you've already been able to do this at one point in time or another in your life, because you know how to get what you want. You've done it once before, if not twice, or 3 times, or 4, or 5. But there's more to this than just learning about asking questions. It's about learning to gather up the resources that you have, the things that you've really learned to do. You've learned how to get along with people pretty well, even if you don't like them, because it's not personal sometimes, it's business. Sometimes it's business, it's not personal. Sometimes it is personal, and sometimes it's not business, but it really doesn't matter. You see, if you can learn to become more flexible each and every moment of each and every day, which you've been able to do at another point in time, the only real trick and the real key is to learn how to use these things in all contexts of your life, Not just in sales, not just in selling, not just in customer service, not just in your business. Each and every moment of each and every day. Now, if you take a look at where you're going in the future, you take a look at that future now, I want you to begin this evening to start to realize how easy you can start to apply some of these things, but not any easier than you can believe in yourself, because it's the belief in yourself that you can build up so strong. Just imagine all the things you've already done without even realizing it. And if you've made mistakes, you ought to be proud of making those mistakes, because I make mistakes every day. Hey, mistakes. I've made a few, but then again, too few to mention. Somebody said that somewhere along the line. I've probably made more mistakes than most people, and it's okay, because it's the only way I know of finding out new ways of doing things. You won't know you made a mistake until you've made it, so make it okay. I have people who have gone into the worst customers you can ever imagine, and to do the most ridiculous thing with this customer, things that these people said would never work, except it was their last hope. They've never done business with the customer. It's a customer they've wanted to get. They've been working on it for 4 or 5 years. And I said, go in and do this. They went, Bilbao, you're crazy. I say, I know, but it doesn't mean it won't work. What it means is that you just haven't tried it this way before. And they'll go in and they'll try it, but it'll take them a while. I don't know how long it's going to take before you go out and begin to use these things. You want to start using them this evening, because your unconscious already knows how to do lots of these things. It's just a matter of bringing them maybe into your conscious awareness, or maybe not. Maybe you'll begin to find yourself doing things differently already. So won't you be pleasantly surprised, even over the next few hours, maybe sometime this evening, maybe sometime tomorrow, you'll catch yourself doing just a few things very, very differently. We've had people close major deals on phone calls during seminars, only because they stepped over that line, took that trance, took that chance, took that risk. They went out on the limb, where the ripest fruit is, by the way. The ripest fruit is always out on a limb. So you have to sometimes go out on that limb and take that chance. The biggest risk you can ever take is not taking the risk, because then you'll never know. You've got to step over that line and go for it. Believe me. Now, if you take a look at the future now, you can maybe start to be able to see yourself doing some things differently. But the only way you're going to realize how easy they are to do is once you've already gone past, already done it. Sometime in the future, already done it differently. If you take just one thing that you've learned, one thing that you've learned here, and go all the way out there into the future, maybe just tomorrow, and go beyond having already done it, and you turn around inside your mind and you take a look back towards this moment, you can see how easy it was that you've already done something. You see, there is no future. There is no past. All of these things exist as memories inside of our minds. And my son summed it up in a very specific way just for me just last week. He said, Dad, you keep telling me what you do in the present will affect your future. But in fact, it doesn't, because there is no future. He said, all we really have is a past. And I thought, this ought to be interesting. He said, actually, we have the present and the past, but there is no future. He said, everything you do in the present, you do it so that you can have the past that you want later on. And I thought, that's kind of an interesting twist to things. Now, all of these things are just memories. They're just a matter of where we place them. Since the future doesn't really exist in our mind, we certainly hope it does. It's just a matter of how we formulate these things. The past is just memories, the present is now, and the future is really our memories for the future. They're the things we want to remember to do. That's really all they are. And how you build those things, we're going to show you first thing tomorrow. Because building the future now is one of the things that's also important in terms of how you run your business, how you do things, all of these ideas. It's very, very simple. Based on language, by the way. Based on your physiology, based on how you place things inside your mind, because time and space are relative in nature. Since time doesn't really exist, only the way we describe time exists. The way we organize our activities we describe as time. but time and space are relative in nature. So we use space to denote time. If I ask you to look at the future, you have to reference a certain place. If I ask you to think of something in the past, you have to reference a certain place, a certain space inside your mind. Now, tomorrow, we're going to do some very interesting things because we're just getting started. This evening, as you go to sleep, the moment your head hits that pillow, I want you to sleep deeper and deeper than you've ever slept before. I want you to go so deep, I want your dreams to be in vivid color, technicolor if you want. I want the sound to be in surround sound. I want you to feel the feelings of the experiences in your dreams from the top of your head to the tips of your toes and out to your fingertips. It'll be as if you're there. So that tomorrow, when you arrive here, even before that, at the moment that you wake up, won't you be pleasantly surprised? As your unconscious now begins to communicate with you and your conscious mind in a different way. It'll begin to surprise you and delight you with little gifts that you forgot that you had to open. Because inside your mind is a wealth of information. Inside of you is a wealth of resources. Think about it. There are things that you forgot to do. There are things that you forgot you can do. It's time to dust some of them off. Maybe it's time to just update some new things. Because when we first came out with the book Persuasion Engineering, the publisher called me after the first month or two and said to me, I have someone who faxed something over to me and said, this book does not adhere to business standards. What should I tell him? And I said, it's real simple. Give me this number and I'll fax it back. And he said, no, I think I'll take care of it, John, but what should I tell him? I said, it's real simple. You tell them we're not trying to adhere to business standards. We're trying to change them. Because it's time we change the way we do certain things. In that way, more and more people can become wealthier, both resource-wise, both emotionally, both psychologically, both physically, however you want to think about it. Because it's not always just about the money. I've been telling people for years, you do the right thing, you give your customers value. Give them more than what they think they're paying for, and the money will always be there. It'll just kind of show up. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at the information that you get about customers just because they're in front of you. All of a sudden, you get information. It'll be very interesting. Won't you be surprised? Now, tonight as you sleep and dream, I want you to dream the dreams of the dream tree. And remember, as you dream the dreams of that dream tree, the ripest of the fruit is always out on a limb. You gotta take a trance, take a chance, and take that risk. Do something different. Dare to be different. It's what sets you up and above the competition. They're all afraid to be different. That's what sets us apart from the rest. Dare to be different. There's nothing wrong with being different. We're all different. Everybody's the same except they're different. And everybody's different in the same way, except they have different qualities about them that are different. Whatever is different about you, value it. Value it. Enhance it. Build on it. Capitalize on it. Use it. It's what will set you head and shoulders above your competition. Dare to be different. Won't you be surprised? Now, as you slowly float back towards the present moments, remembering where you are here, you slowly float into the present moments in time. In just another moment from now, I'm going to ask you to come on back into the room here and open your eyes. But not until you're just about ready and sorted some things out. So tomorrow, when you arrive back here, I want you to come back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, looking forward to the ride to where we're about to go. So, in just another moment from now, you come back here and open your eyes. And maybe notice what's different. Maybe you feel different. Maybe when you open your eyes, you'll see something that's different. Maybe you'll notice a different brightness and a different hue in the room. I don't know. So, come on back here and open your eyes. And look forward to the ride to wherever it is you're about to be going.